quick rules before we get started. I will be moderating. Technically speaking, as this is a Bitcoin show, Alex Svetsky will be the home team. Richard, you will start. And the first question will be, what is your difference between Bitcoin, or what is your definition of the difference between Bitcoin and crypto?
Oh, sure. So do I start answering stuff now? No, I don't have my mic live on Twitter Spaces because I could hear myself through that speaker. So one of you guys was just transmitting me, so I didn't need to double it up.
Go ahead and unmute yourself on the Twitter Space.
All right.
Boom.
Sorry if I sound distant, Twitter Space. Yeah, we're simulcasting this on Bitcoin Magazine's YouTube and Twitter Spaces on Bitcoin Magazine's channel and my YouTube channel, Richard Hart.
Jesus.
Yeah. So maximum reach, maximum impact. I believe the first question is, what was the difference between Bitcoin and crypto? I think first, for you guys, we're just jumping in, right? We just start talking. Cool. So, some of you guys might not know me. I was the premier Bitcoin maximalist for quite a long time. I said wonderful things about Bitcoin, terrible things about everything else. And it was awesome when everything else sucked. And there's still a lot of things that suck. So right before I hopped on the stream, I had to send a tweet about a $600 million exploit that just happened on something called the Ronin Bridge. Maybe a month or two ago or 3 months ago, there was an exploit on a Solana bridge where $300 million was stolen. I'm tweeting about hacks and exploits in cryptocurrency constantly and all the time. And so I'm one of Bitcoin's, I guess you could say, biggest promoters from the past. I promoted Bitcoin when it was maybe $2,000, $3,000, predicted the $20,000 Christmas, called the top on the day then and have it documented. You can go to richardhart.com and see my timestamped Twitter posts. And I don't make very many calls. I make very few calls. I think in the last couple of years, I made one call when I called the top again on the day again at 65,000. And that top call has been in profit every single day except one for the last 11 and a half months. So while everyone else is telling you about $100,000 Bitcoin, $1 million Bitcoin, I'm telling you the top is in, and I'm 100% right, and they're 100% wrong. And sometimes we have to revisit history and see who was right and who was wrong so we can allocate people's attention spans properly. I'm also one of the only people in the world to make Bitcoiners, exclusively only Bitcoiners, very, very wealthy by giving them free coins. I've given over $500 million of value exclusively to Bitcoin holders because I allowed them to mint hex for free. And over 311,000 Bitcoin was used to claim their free hex. And that Bitcoin's worth something like, I don't know, $18 billion now, something like that. And now the hex that they got for free after a 66% dip is worth $500 million. And 6 months ago, it would be worth $1.5 billion that I gave through the sweat of my labor for free to Bitcoin holders. And so it's funny to me as a person that enriches Bitcoin holders, gives them millions of dollars of free money, calls the top on the day, multiple cycles, calls the bottom. I called the 60K top years ago before the halvening in Malta. I get people to take their keys off of exchanges so that they have self-sovereignty, so they don't have Mt. Gox coming from them. Oh, and by the way, Mt. Gox will be handing out those Bitcoin for sale at some point. 140,000 of them, which is about, I don't know, a lot of money. What's 140,000 times 50 grand? A lot of money. $7 billion maybe?
7 million.
No, 7 billion would be. They got 140,000 Bitcoin. I'll just do it in calculator real quick. Calc 50K times 140. 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
You're right. I forgot the 1,000.
Yeah, I think it's 7 billion. So, if people would listen to me and remove the counterparty risk, which was Bitcoin was invented to do, and Bitcoin was invented to get rid of middlemen, but Bitcoiners suck middleman D all day, every day because they don't have a choice. If you want to earn yield on your Bitcoin, for instance, Mr. Svetsky, I did a little bit of debate prep. I watched an interview with him and a guy named BitBoy. He says that he can't sell his Bitcoin. He's got it locked up for how long? How long did you say you have your Bitcoin locked up for?
Let me unmute both things. there's not a time limit to it, but I've done it in such a way that it's extraordinarily difficult for me to get access to my Bitcoin probably for the next 10 or 20 years.
Well, I mean, I could show you how to use Bitcoin better if you want. There's a function called check lock time verify, and you can lock up your Bitcoin and not have to worry about it at all because you won't be able to touch it at all.
Yeah, I looked at that, but at the time, like I set it up in such a way that now for me to go back and do that is just really difficult. So it's well stored. So I'm pretty happy with the setup at the moment. It's not ideal, could be better, but
I got great news for you. So what he did, you might be able to consider smart. Delaying gratification and spending more time in the market is better than trying to time the market. And if you have a product that has product market fit, like Bitcoin has, you're very likely going to do better holding on to it than trying to call tops and bottoms, because almost no one can do it, which is why I brag about it, because literally no one else calls top on the day, just me, nobody else. So now imagine you could do what he just suggested, which if more people did it, imagine you bought Bitcoin at $1, and instead of selling it at 10 or 100 or 1,000, you held it to 70,000. Boy, you'd have so much more money. There'd be so much more millionaires in the world, Bitcoin millionaires. But imagine,
Richard, hate to interrupt you, but you just have to unmute on Spaces real quick. Sorry.
Thank you. Hey, my pleasure. I need the help. So imagine that instead of delaying gratification as he has, which I assume has absolutely no yield because he probably doesn't like counterparty risk. Is that accurate? You're not making any yield on those frozen coins?
Correct.
Okay. I invented something that allows you to do exactly the same thing that you want to do, which is delay gratification, keep your dirty hands off of the most performant asset class in the history of mankind, except you make yield the entire time with absolutely no counterparty risk. People have lost hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to counterparty risk. I just told you that Mt. Gox, trustee in Japan, is going to hand out for sale to people 140,000 Bitcoin. Used to be 180,000 Bitcoin. What happened to the other 40,000 Bitcoin? He sold them and market dumped in December. He market dumped January, February, March of 2018, murdered the price by dumping those Bitcoin. And now those Bitcoin are worth more. So why did that happen? Because you don't have on-chain exchanges with Bitcoin. So you have to suck middleman D. You got Bitcoin, what can you do with it? You want to earn yield? You can either not earn yield, as Mr. Svetsky's done, or you can give it to a counterparty and beg that you get your money back. And oftentimes you do not. Oftentimes you do not get your money back. Mt. Gox went out of business, stole everybody's money. Quadriga CX went out of business, stole everybody's money. Cryptopia went out of business, stole everyone's money. BTCE got shut down by the government. A lot of people got jacked. $600 million seized by the Polish government from Finex. They had to issue a token to try and make the difference up, which they did. We see time and time and time again, people chasing yield and being destroyed by counterparty risk. And I designed the things to save these people. I gave you a coin for free, over $500 million of valuation now, that you could lock up and earn interest. And guess what? There's 100% perfect, flawless operation for 2.5 years now. And it's outperformed the Bitcoin price and it's outperformed the Ethereum price from their hardest to compete against times when they very first launched. And if you compare them from when we launched, it's even easier. We totally murder them. You used to be able to buy 1 hex for less than a Satoshi. It went up 1,000-fold. 1,000 times you could have multiplied your Bitcoin stack, 1,000-fold. And then it dipped. And now it's only worth 300 times as much. So we're only up 300x versus Bitcoin in the last 2.5 years with 100% perfect flawless operation. Guess who doesn't have 100% perfect flawless operation? Bitcoin doesn't. Bitcoin.org was hacked just a couple months ago, and I had to do an emergency live stream to try and save Bitcoiners from the scam that was on the front page of Bitcoin.org. Did Satoshi do a live stream to save Bitcoiners? No, I did. Did Satoshi give you any free coins? No, I did. By the way, as far as free coins go, everybody on Ethereum is getting a copy of every single coin on that entire network because I, through the set of my labor and my effort, am giving everyone a free copy of every single coin on the Ethereum network for free on a new network. You just literally point your MetaMask to a different server and our coins are all sitting there. And it's been working great for months on testnet. And within the next month, we probably go to mainnet. And what are you getting for free as a Bitcoiner? You're not getting nothing. You know how much free money there is in the Ethereum ecosystem? 1 inch free, Uni free, Gitcoin free, Apecoin free, Hex. You guys, the only guy that hooked you guys up was me. I'm the only guy that hooked Bitcoiners up. Ethereum guys didn't get free Hex, but now they're getting everything copied. So like, I got a list of, I got a list that's so long about why the things I've built make the world a better place. I mean, I just don't want to dominate the conversation. I feel like Alex should get to talk some. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to do some talking here.
All right, I'll jump in. I mean, I guess for all the people who got a bunch of free shit, you know, I assume they're thankful. So I guess that's a good thing in that sense. But I mean, you mentioned making the world a better place because you're giving or helping people get free stuff. I mean, I don't know if that makes the world a better place. I would argue that makes the world a softer, weaker, more
I got my
fragile
Bitcoin
place.
for free. I double clicked an exe in my computer and Satoshi gave it to me for free. It was great freemium on-ramping to get new users addicted. And that's how they got my money. I used to mine full Bitcoin blocks on my own.
Unmute yourself.
I'm working on it. I used to mine full Bitcoin blocks on my own with no pool and get 50 Bitcoin every once in a while into my computer, mining on GPU. And then it went away.
And helped bootstrap the network. Well done.
That's right. Yeah. And now guess what happens? Now it's totally centralized. You have to suck D to mine Bitcoin. You got to go to a hardware manufacturer. You have to go to a hardware manufacturer that's definitely not in America and beg them, hey, can you please send me a Bitcoin miner kind of on time and not spend too much time, quote, testing it? Because the first 2 weeks are 50% profit of the entire lifetime of the machine because the difficulty is always shooting through the roof. Can you please test my machine a little bit less long so that I can try and ROI? That's also incorrect
because I mine with an S9.
Let's get unmute yourself on Spaces.
I was going to say it's kind of incorrect because I still mine with an S9 and it, you know, I mean, although it earns fuck all, you know, there's something there. So
no, but I just said that the profit is front loaded because the difficulty is going up. This is mathematically proof.
But
this is not debatable.
That's reaching a
it's centralized dog shit. If you want to mine Bitcoin, you have to suck middleman D, period. You're not even allowed to do it in China. It's illegal. And you were almost banned from doing it in the EU 2 weeks ago.
Which is hilarious.
Okay, I'm going to step in right now. I'm going to step in right now. The original question was to define the difference between Bitcoin and crypto. We're going to go back.
I'm actually going to say, let's fuck the original question because I actually have a question for
I think it's better if me and him just talk, bro. I like conversations.
Yeah, Richard. So here's my question for you, though. Is like, you've just noted all these things. And so what I'm curious about is like, why do you do what you do? Like, I get the money part, you know, you're rich as fuck now. You know, but like, you know, money is a means. It's not an end. So this is like, I'm actually curious to get into that. It's like, what's your driver? What's your motivation? Because like, as you said, I mean, you were one of the, like when I was early in Bitcoin and, you know, when I say early, like I'm a class of 2016, like I watched your takedown of Roger Ver in 2017. It was the fucking greatest thing I ever seen. Like, it's still for me, one of the best videos. So you were like, you know, one of the most eloquent, you know, at least in my eyes, like Bitcoiners at the time, but then you kind of, and, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but in my mind, like you went full retard. Like you went straight off the fucking rails. And it was kind of like, I don't know, like you were, you got pissed off that Bitcoin crashed and, you know, you thought that you were going to get fucking rich and then, you know, then that didn't happen. So instead you decided to roll your own shitcoin and, you know, create something like, so that's my perception. So tell me, like, what's the driver behind why you're doing what you're doing? Because it can't be just like this idea of, I just want to make, you know, you're not Jesus Christ, you know, out here sacrificing yourself to make people fucking rich. Like, so what's the driver for you?
I am so glad you asked that. As a matter of fact, that question is so good. People are going to think that I paid you to ask that. Hi, I'm Richart Hart. I'm the best human being in this entire industry. So I'll just give you some proof of that real quick. If you scroll back to my oldest YouTube videos, long before I ever mentioned crypto to anybody publicly, I get people to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop gambling, stop trading, drink more water, be healthier human beings. I've published multiple self-help books for free that you can go download at t.me/scivive. I have received thousands of emails from people whose lives I have saved. I've also raised $27 million for medical research to save your life. So as far as people in cryptocurrencies go, I'm basically like a god. So even people that hate me, I get money raised to save their lives. People that have their coins on exchange and get wrecked trading, I save their lives. I get them to delay gratification. On the Bitcoin chart, you know what you see? You see a lot of wicks to the upside with liquidated shorts. Those are people whose lives are destroyed. There's no wicks to the upside in the hex chart because there's no place to short it. So there's no liquidation.
The market cleaning up. You know, all that kind of shit is perfectly normal. Like that kind of stuff.
No, destroying people's lives is not good.
No. People who play with fire, unless they get burnt, they do not learn.
No,
so
it's not true.
That what you're talking about there is basically a central banker's idea of we remove the pain receptor so that people never feel the pain of making poor decisions. If someone is stupid enough to make a fucking poor decision, like go 100x long on Bitcoin trying to get rich quick, which the premise of that idea in the first place is fucking wrong. Like the whole point of accumulating wealth is to add some value to life, not sit on a fucking computer and jerk off while you're fucking placing longs on BitNex. Like that is not adding any value to fucking society. So as a result, the market cleans out those people who came to get fucking rich quick. So, you know, there's a saying in markets, which is, you know, bears get rich, bulls get rich, and pigs get slaughtered. So that kind of stuff is perfectly natural. It's a good thing.
No, you're just, no, bro. You're just not a good teacher is the difference. Okay. I took home economics when I was in school, and they taught me that when you're cooking, you turn the pan handle away from where you're walking so you don't walk by it and bump it and burn the living crap out of your leg and have hot oil and a mutated leg for the rest of your life. And when I would teach home economics, if I were to, I would teach kids not to burn their legs off. But with your type of bad education style, you think the only way to teach people is from them getting wrecked. And I assure you it's not the case. We live in a world right now where the majority of advertising for cryptocurrency is to get the users destroyed.
Totally. And this 100%. Is something we actually agree on.
Yep.
This is something we agree on. So
agree.
You know, like I had every opportunity, for example, like a little bit more background on me is, you know, I built a Bitcoin business and it was a Bitcoin only business. And I've foregone probably millions of fucking dollars in, you know, sponsorships and shitcoiner money and God knows how much in terms of potential profits from enabling people to fucking gamble between shitcoins. But we don't do that. All we did was enable people to just simply swap their shitcoin dollars into Bitcoin, which is effectively what people should be doing as opposed to going out there trying to fucking earn yield. Like the whole yield market especially is just the symptom of the diseased fucking world in which people think that they should be making money for nothing. Like that concept is fundamentally wrong.
No, it's not.
It really is.
It's not. It
saving
used to be.
Is what people should be doing. Saving is what people.
No, but saving is only as useful as someone can deploy the saving. Like, so.
And that's the thing. No. That's actually false because not everybody should be deploying their savings. People should be saving and then deploying it when they need it.
No, but
so what saving does is enables them. So this is the last thing I'll say, then I'll let you go. But saving enables people to plan for the future. So it lowers uncertainty across time. So
if what you were saying was true, you would have disproved capital efficiency in lending markets. It's not the case. Some people are better at allocating capital than other people, which is why we have C-level executives, and which is why dumb noobs are actually prevented from doing whatever they want with their money, which is why we have accredited investor laws. Because when we didn't have accredited investor laws,
accredited investor laws are a great idea, are they?
I'm not telling you that they're a great idea. I'm telling you why they were created. It's so easy in the libertarian mindset to forget how we ended up with all these over-restrictive laws. The reason we have too many laws and over-restricted laws is because the government keeps appealing to good excuses, and the people are too stupid to see through the quote good excuse. So I'll give an example.
But then what it does is it creates a cushion for morons to keep doing the thing that they shouldn't be doing.
There's only 3 ways that you can solve the people getting scammed problem. There's only 3 ways, and I have the best way. I'm going to tell you the 2 ways that suck.
Create a scam.
To create things that are awesome that use the same tactics scams use so that you can outcompete the scams. There's a big difference. Force multipliers are not intention. They multiply force. You can use a firearm to save people, or you can use a firearm to harm people. You can use martial arts to save people, or you can use martial arts to harm people. And you could use powerful marketing techniques. I dress like a clown because it's effective. I don't dress like a clown because I particularly just love advertising other people's brands over my own. I'm leeching other brands that have already spent hundreds of years developing brand loyalty to pivot their customers into things that could save their lives. Very tactically efficient with what I do, which is why Hex went up over 1,000,000% in 623 days. 1,000,000% before staking. If you'd staked, you'd be up 2,000,000%, 2.5. There was another inflation bug, which means print as much Bitcoin as you want.
If you're gonna make a point about a force multiplier, don't try and conflate that Hex is a competitor to Bitcoin. Because
It is.
as far as I understand,
It is.
really.
Yes.
So you believe that the world at some point is going to converge upon Hex as a standard of money that the world should operate on?
You're looking at a big S curve staring you at the face with elongated cycles and limp dick pumps. You got basically negative returns annually right now. My Rolexes have outperformed you. All the meme stocks have outperformed you. All the coins have outperformed you. You're holding the top of an S adoption curve. Do you know what happens after the top of the S adoption curve? Everything just goes flat, man, which is why your returns are flat. You're not early. You know how old Bitcoin is? Bitcoin's 12 or 13 years old now. You're not early, bro. You're late.
Correct.
And that's the reason your gains are going to continue to suck. And your roadmap sucks too. When I used to defend Bitcoin, a block size increase was on the roadmap from Blockstream. Bitcoin Core, Blockstream, literally had a Bitcoin block size increase on the roadmap. Did we ever get it? No. And I fought for UASF and I fought for Neo2x. No, but we should have got it because computers got faster and throughput got faster.
Not at all.
Yes, they did.
That's. I mean, that doesn't matter. Like all of that is irrelevant.
So so everything in the world gets faster and more throughput, except Bitcoin, because it's a magical exception. It can't make progress.
No. Bitcoin's making perfect progress.
I mean,
you know, yes, Bitcoin continues. Like here's the thing: the world around us is crumbling.
Looking at what chart? What chart are you looking at that's showing you Bitcoin's killing it?
Have a look at wokeism. Have a look at fucking
that's all terrible. We agree on that.
Look at,
we agree on wokeism.
So the whole world is collapsing around us.
I agree with all that.
It's like this heartbeat that remains consistent.
That had its run. Bitcoin had its run.
It's not had its run. Bitcoin's early days, man. Bitcoin's gonna have its real run.
Dude that bought 13-year-old bag that just got here is like, yo, I didn't buy the top. I called the top of the day. You did not. You probably dollar cost averaged into the top on the day. Like I'm telling you as a person that knows more about Bitcoin than you. Like I'm trying to save you, man.
More about Bitcoin. No. You're trying to frame Bitcoin through the lens of making dollars. I don't care about that.
No.
The only measure that counts for me.
I 1,000x people's Bitcoin stacks. What part of less than a Satoshi to 1,000 Satoshis is unclear to you? I 1,000x your Bitcoin stack for free.
Bitcoin stacks then. Why do you want to increase people's Bitcoin stack if you don't?
I don't.
Bitcoin is worth
but it's still better than fiat. Look, Bitcoin is not as good as Ethereum, which is the reason Ethereum's outperformed it 3-1. You know who owns Bitcoin? A bunch of venture capitalists and scumbags. But you think it's the fucking, we're going to save politics with this shit.
I'm not.
Let me tell you who owns Bitcoin.
At least I don't think I'm a scumbag. But...
You know who just drove the price up of Bitcoin over the last week? I do. Do you know who? It's a single guy.
Fuck. It doesn't matter. It's a market.
It doesn't matter who drove the price of Bitcoin up?
No.
I thought you wanted to promote Bitcoin. How are you going to promote Bitcoin if you don't know who the guys driving the price up are to go find more of them?
I don't care about the price. See, this is why I asked you the question in the beginning is like, why do you do what you do? Is that you're trying to get rich? Like, I don't care.
I've been rich and retired since 2003. I had a 150 employee company doing 60 million a year turnover in 2003 when I retired at the age of 25. I started mining Bitcoin when it was 50 cents.
You haven't answered me.
Yes, because I'm fixing everything. The reason I'm a self-help author, the reason I raised $27 million for charity, the reason I raised multiple billions of dollars for freedom of movement and freedom of speech is because I deeply care about these things. I've been rich and retired for decades, plural. I've run out of shit to buy. I have $5 million of watches I don't even set the time on. I'm wearing 2 of them to troll. This one's $1 million on its own. But this isn't what I actually care about.
I can't unmute him. Richard, you muted on Zoom real quick. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know. Did I hit the button M or something? Yeah, I only have all this clown mode stuff to flex on people because it's what they understand. I have to charge and plug in my Louis Vuitton bags before the show.
This is the
just
thing.
the flex.
So what you're doing,
but this works. What you're doing doesn't work. You're telling people to sell their Bitcoin. You're telling people you don't care who buys it. You're telling people you don't care about the price. That's all anyone cares about is the price. You're the weird one that's doing a bad job marketing Bitcoin. I'm doing a better job marketing Bitcoin. I got people to take their Bitcoin off of exchange and hold it and maybe even buy more to give them free coins for it. What have you done? What has Satoshi done? When Bitcoin.org got hacked, who went to save the Bitcoin people from being scammed? I did. Did you do an emergency stream when Bitcoin.org got hacked?
No.
More than once, by the way.
No. Okay. Okay. Fine. So all right.
I save your users. I enrich your users. You hurt your users. You're sitting making no yield on your Bitcoin stack with no capital efficiency, like a dum-dum. Why?
I don't believe you need yield. I don't believe you need yield.
You could buy more Bitcoin with yield, bro. You know, Michael Saylor just took leverage. Michael Saylor just took leverage to buy more Bitcoin.
Good. And I mean, he's been doing that from the beginning.
Do you know how you go broke? Ladies, liquor, and leverage. He's doing the thing that you and I just said is a stupid, terrible thing, trading. He's taking on leverage. If the Gox coins come out and he gets liquidated, guess what that does to the spot price when he has to cover and sell? It adds volatility. He's adding volatility by getting leveraged up.
If he's doing it, and if that's what happens, then the market cleans itself up. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm sure you want Michael Saylor to get cleaned up. By the way, in 2013, Michael Saylor said Bitcoin was going to fail like online gaming.
Of course he did, but then he woke up. So
I'm going to interject here. I'm going to interject here because we have lost the plot a little bit here. Richard, thank you for the work you did for Bitcoin.org and helping those who are getting hacked and scammed. That is valid and a fair point. I want you both to define to me what is money, because that seems to be the crux of this argument that you guys are circling around. And if you guys can define that for us, I think that will help us engage in a different direction here. And I would like that to be defined first by Svetsky.
I mean, what is money? I mean, fuck.
I got it. If you don't got it, bro, it's okay. It's a standard definition.
It's the technology we use. Is my fucking, are both my mics on? I think that. Okay. It's the technology human beings use to codify the product of their labor so that at some point they can interact and cooperate with someone else. It's like the fucking language of value, right? So we need a means. So in order for human beings to cooperate and to interact, we need a means via which to codify, to store the product of one's labor, and then to exchange it with another down the track across time and space. Like that's effectively the physical function of money, you know, and the only thing that changes is the object. We use as money, you know, that's why we've used fucking seashells and rocks and this and that. We've been experimenting until we've reached what I believe is the apex version of money, which is Bitcoin. It places money into the realm of the physical laws of the universe. Like no one here on this call can change the speed of light. We can't change thermodynamics. We can't change fucking shit. We also can't change Bitcoin's rules. And it's sort of that's the innovation to me. It's not about getting fucking rich. It's not about, you know, making pumper fucking mentals. Like, you know, that's not the premise here. Like Bitcoin is about placing money outside of anyone's capacity to influence, control, manipulate. And as a result, it puts humanity, it puts people on a level playing field. And I don't mean a level playing field for some fucking goal of equality. I mean that then people can actually compete fairly without fucking leeches being able to, who don't add value, be able to fucking enrich themselves at the expense of everyone else, which is the whole fucking problem of fiat. Like that's why Bitcoin is replacing fiat, is that these clowns, like the fucking nursing home, you know, Bidens and Jay Powells and fucking Lagardes of the world, they add zero value to society, but they still enrich themselves by leeching productive capacity from the rest of the world, by creating money supply out of nothing. That is the whole fucking problem we're trying to solve by placing money outside of everyone's hands. So that's my frame, and that's where I start, and that's the problem that we're trying to solve, not trying to make fucking people rich. I don't give a fuck about people being rich. If you're going to get rich, go and do something fucking useful, not fucking sit there, trade shitcoins. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, that's my point.
Richard, same question to you.
My pleasure. The standard definition you'll pull out of Wikipedia for what money is it's something that is durable. You can tell that it's not counterfeited. You can split it up into a bunch of parts. You have some hope that it maintains its value. It's scarce. So scarce, divisible, durable, that's all fine and good. But what we've seen is that everything that people call monies today suck. They're terrible. They have basically lifespans of 50 years, which are fiat currencies. They all go to zero over time. They print them out of thin air, which steals from savers. It causes boom and bust cycles of misinvestment and malinvestment. You give the money to the wrong people, it empowers a military industrial complex. They don't have to pass war taxes, so they go and blow people up constantly with money that was stolen from the people, but people don't realize it stole from them. And then I've got unique takes on this that other people have never heard of before, which is why I'm a thought leader. So imagine a world where you've driven up all the prices by printing money out of thin air, stealing all the value from the money people tried to save. Now they have to pay capital gains tax if they sell something because it has fake gains on paper, and you tax them on the theft. So first you steal the money of their value, then you tax them because the fake value went up on the quote gains. And then if their wages, if they magically get wages, it kicks them into higher income tax brackets. It's a huge giant racket. And Bitcoin is better than fiat, but let's say, could we pick a weaker target? No, we could not. So while Bitcoin is better than fiat, it hasn't been better than Tesla stock. It hasn't been better than my Rolexes since you reached the top of the S curve, since every scumbag venture capitalist has more Bitcoin than you'll ever have in your entire life. The people that hacked Bitfinex had $2 billion of Bitcoin. Draper's got billions. Winklevi has billions. Chamath has billions. Do Kwon of the stablecoin UST just pumped the price this week, and he's buying 2 billion and already executed a purchase for $1.5 billion. So while you think you're saving the world, how much?
He's buying 1 billion.
No, he already bought one. Well, he drove the price up. So he purchased 28,000 BTC so far.
All of this is irrelevant to the definition of money, though.
What are you talking about? Look, first of all, I gave you the standard definition from Wikipedia, so you can't even argue with that.
Is that your definition?
No, my definition is that the only thing that matters is goods and services, and everything else is accounting. And so if you can get the accounting to be more efficient with less middlemen, with less counterparty risk. So for instance, Bitcoin doesn't address stablecoins, which people desperately need. And it doesn't address them, so they have to go somewhere else. Bitcoin doesn't address other tokens, which people desperately need. So if you want an affinity token or you want to monetize your audience, you can do that with NFTs or other mechanisms on Ethereum, which is why you see hundreds of thousands of users on Ethereum that will never use Bitcoin ever. They need higher throughput finality.
How's the NFTs gone for people?
I hate NFTs. I think they're disgusting. But the fact that they get them into the game so that they might buy something good is better than them buying GME meme stock, which is what's being shoved down their throat currently. What's being shoved down everyone's throats currently is margin trading. FTX buys all the ads. They want you to get wrecked margin trading on a side bet where no one has to buy real Bitcoin. They just make all the money on the side bet house. Same with eToro. eToro at the top of their website says, that's right. eToro at the top of their website says 67% of people lose with us, and it's misleading because the people that lose more than the people that win. And they have all the ads on all the race cars and all the sports games. And the guys that have the real honest projects that save the users, we can't buy ads. Now, we have had a NASCAR. Bitcoin's never had a NASCAR. We've had ads on, radio,
Pretty
television.
sure Bitcoin had an F1, but who gives a fuck? Like, the thing is, Bitcoin is not like this is the thing, though. It's like what you're suggesting is that I have that fiat money.
I have a higher throughput, lower fee, more feature setful, more secure solution to everything that Bitcoin's trying to do.
Correct, but the problem is
just don't know about
you
it.
have it. No, the problem is that you have it. This is the thing. So I am, as much as I'm an arrogant cunt, and as much as I'm a prick, and as much as people who hate me and will say all sorts of shit, like will say whatever, but I know I'm a fucking flawed human being. Like I am in no position to ever be lord of the money. And I believe that there can be no lords of the money. Certainly.
Yeah, but you own Bitcoin where 40% of the supply is in 2,000 addresses. That's what you own.
That doesn't
you own
matter.
It doesn't matter? Because he just said it was. It's his point. Tell him. It's not my point. It's his point.
Because here's the thing: can Saylor change any of the rules of Bitcoin?
Yes, he can, but you just don't know that.
No, he can't.
And by the way, the speed of light does change based on the medium it's in. And by the way, you can effectively kind of reduce speed of light by changing your distance, which is why
Wait.
high frequency trading firms buy fiber optic lines instead of having to use high throughut infrared.
That's not changing
Time
the
out,
speed
time
of
out,
light, though.
time out.
That's not
There's
changing
way
the
too
speed
big
of
of a
light.
claim. No, stop.
You're lying.
There's
That is
way too
nothing.
big.
A good point.
There's way too big of a claim right now that was made that you need to establish, because frankly, I think it's a false claim.
Which one?
Richard, how in your mind does Michael Saylor have the ability to overthrow and output whatever he wants on the Bitcoin network?
Oh, I guess you guys need to review your Andreas Antonopoulos material from 2017, back when we were fighting these battles. I'll quote him for you, even though he's a left woke scumbag. There's three parties that get to change the Bitcoin network: exchanges, people that accept it, and the miners, and kind of the software guys. And these four guys argue about what's going to happen to the network. And as proof that what I'm saying is 100% true, I will introduce you to something called the hard fork. Do you know why it's called hard? Because it is not backwards compatible. And if you do not upgrade your client, you don't get to run transactions. So sometimes you have soft forks. So for instance, they figured out a way to do SegWit as a soft fork. But then you have other things like Taproot, which I don't think was a soft fork. I think Taproot might have been a hard fork. And if you didn't enjoy that hard fork, there were definitely hard forks in the past, like, oh, we had 6 billion extra Bitcoin. Let's pretend that script didn't happen. And by the way, I hear you talk trash about the Bitcoin Cash guys. A Bitcoin Cash developer caught the last mint as many free Bitcoin as you want bug and responsibly disclosed it instead of minting as many free Bitcoin as he wanted, which the devs lied about and said was a denial of service bug until they had the patch released. And then they're like, oh, actually, by the way, it was also a consensus bug. Anyone could have minted as many free Bitcoin as they wanted. Now, you know how you prevent that? You know how you prevent inflation bugs? Inflation bugs are the worst bugs in all of cryptocurrency. They're the majority of these.
You are talking circles around the question I have asked. How is your claim that Michael Saylor can change the Bitcoin network valid?
Yeah, you just have the people change their configs. They're socially enforced networks. So the same logic that you do to say we're now going to accept larger blocks, or we're now going to accept Taproot, or we're now going to accept Chalk Lock Time Verify. Those upgrades, the central consensus that you do to get people to change their nodes, is the exact same consensus you use to go, now the supply is 42 million. Now we're not going to do the halvening. It's the same exact math.
That's an influencing people who run nodes. That's not
right. And then you get to have a war for who has the longest chain. And guess what? That's also socially enforced.
Then we get free Bitcoin airdropped.
Right.
But
it's a socially enforced network, or Bitcoin Cash would already be the longest chain because it is a longer chain.
All networks are socially enforced.
That's right. That's correct. And you use the same enforcement mechanism to change whatever you want. You can change anything you want.
This is the beauty of what you mentioned about Bitcoin, because you kind of proved yourself wrong earlier, is that you said that the problem with Bitcoin apparently is that it doesn't evolve and doesn't change and it doesn't adapt because everything
mostly doesn't
faster, better, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's the problem. That's that right there, which people think is the problem, is the best thing about Bitcoin, and that is exactly why
let's test it.
Shit.
No, he could.
Fucking difficult.
He just literally created a mining consensus for him. Like, this dude's introducing centralization left and right, just like Blockstream did.
Nothing with it.
Blockstream did the same shit. They released Liquid to compete with Bitcoin. They support Tether. They released cloud mining. These are your Blockstream homies. Okay, these are your squad.
All right, you do whatever they want. Businesses are free.
Michael Saylor cannot change Bitcoin. You
have
failed
to
answer the question. No,
but it's not. No, it's improbable. It is improbable. It would be very hard for him to do. I'd put his success likelihood at like 5%. It's doable.
What you have failed to explain is that the Bitcoin network provides the purest form of democracy. Sorry, Svetsky, I know that.
No, it's not.
Word makes you cringe.
No, it's not.
Let me finish my point.
The third debater has arrived. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Richard, you are on my show.
Go ahead. Take your time. I got all night, man.
You have to have a 50% consensus to make any of these changes. While Michael Saylor may have introduced certain things to influence mining, so too has Jack Dorsey, and allow the public markets to dictate that. I will not allow for some old brandish claim just so that you can get some views or likes. That's not going to happen on this show. You have not refuted the point.
I just told you that it is very improbable, and I have it at like a 5% success rate. You're also you're lying about the network. Okay, you're lying about the network, but you don't realize it because you don't have the technical chops. You do not need 51% attack to consensus. Consensus attacks happen at much lower rates. They're just not as likely successful. You can have consensus attacks with 31% of the mining power, which, by the way, Ethereum already has ways to get rid of proof of work attacks.
Sustain it, you need to be closer up to 80% though. So again, these are all discussions about probability.
It doesn't matter because the problems you have are code problems, not hash problems. problems. It's not
No,
stupid
no,
to talk about. Michael Saylor's not going to blow his bag out. The miners aren't going to blow their bag out.
Correct.
These are
Correct. So
improbable
this is-
events, but there's no reason to say they're not impossible. It's the same reason when you guys like you say that it's unconfiscatable, but then the government's selling the confiscations every week. It's disgusting.
Hold
It's a
on.
lie.
So
Use
what's the
correct
probability
language.
of someone shutting down Hex? What happens if someone caps you?
Oh, nothing. I'm more
Really?
decentralized than Bitcoin is. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes, 100%. Let me explain to you
more
why.
Decentralized than
Yeah,
Bitcoin?
definitely explain that one.
Oh, easily. No problem. So let's take DeFi, decentralized finance, usually 100% scam in its term. It's usually not decentralized at all because you need to be able to go to a front end and actually use the front end when stuff goes wrong. And most decentralized projects aren't actually decentralized. There's admin keys and one front end run by one guy. And if that guy turns it off, everyone's screwed until they go write a new one. So if I die and hex.com goes offline and go.hex.com goes offline, there's 5 other teams that independently, totally unrelated to me, built their own front ends and their own hardware and their own direct ledger integrations, their own direct Trezor integrations. All that stuff was done at launch. We had full sufficient decentralization at launch.
5 teams. 5 teams is your decentralization.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's your claim that it's more decentralized than Bitcoin. You have 5 independent.
How many Bitcoin mining pools are there? How many miner hardware companies are there? You need to look at your own house, brother. And let me teach you something else about decentralization. There's something called just-in-time decentralization. So let me give an example. Infura went down. Did Ethereum go down? No. Do you know why? Because we were ready for it. You literally click in MetaMask a single box that says network. You click add, and then you copy paste someone else's node in there. You can run your own node if you want, but you don't have to. There's 10 other guys that have their own nodes running. So
Totally
let me give you more proof. EOS has 21 nodes. Have they been going down? BSC has 21 nodes. Have they been going down? Everyone is centralized out the yin yang in low double digits because it's more than enough because regulatory attacks aren't occurring. And if regulatory attacks were occurring, we would use the social consensus to change the proof of work or change the number of validators or change which validators were valid. The same way if the Bitcoin, if the government decided to impede the 5 guys that'll sell you a Bitcoin miner, of which maybe 2 or 3 could possibly be profitable. If the government decided to strike those guys down, you could do a proof of work change, which is the same proof of work change that you should already have written as Ethereum has, because the EU almost shut you guys down last week. The EU almost made proof of work illegal last week.
Centralized as fuck. It is not more decentralized than Bitcoin.
It depends on what aspect that you're looking at. You do not, if you want to earn yield in Hex, you can buy Hex from the hundreds of thousands of people that have it, lock it up and earn yield. But if you want to earn yield in Bitcoin, you got to suck 2 or 3 companies' D's to beg them for a mining hardware machine and hope they send it on time. Certain aspects of my system are vastly more decentralized. They're furthermore more secure, which is why we've never had an inflation bug. Ethereum's never had an inflation bug. Hex has never had an inflation bug, but you guys have had 2.
We're not.
Dude, you're talking about things that occurred in the past in the early days of Bitcoin, which are part
but they're going
of
to
its
occur again because you
emergence.
don't have a bug bounty program, you don't have audits, you don't have modularity, you have your wallet
None of
touching
that's
your
needed.
network having. You don't know
None of
anything
that's
about
needed.
software design, dude. I know more about
I
software
actually
design
built
than
a
you.
software company. So it's all
Really?
good.
So where's the
So,
Bitcoin written spec that you could design a client to? It
you
doesn't
don't need
exist.
to
It doesn't exist.
need that because
Right.
Bitcoin sits there.
Have you read
and
the
it
critical
allows people to
vulnerabilities?
build and engineer around it.
Have
Okay?
you
That's
read the
whole
critical
point.
vulnerabilities list of Bitcoin Core? It's very long, and there's been a
Not
ton of
recent.
them. Do you know why they're called critical? Because they're really big screw ups.
Okay. Irrespective, it doesn't matter. They're all probabilistically irrelevant.
Do you know it takes 9 months
Because-
to on-ramp a new Bitcoin developer because the code is spaghetti code? You
Yeah,
can't
it
on-ramp
is.
a new
It's super
dev.
fucking
You got to
spaghetti
send
code.
Muted,
your
Richard.
dev to
Muted
Chain
again.
Code Labs and
You're
wait
muted
9
on
months.
Zoom. Richard, you muted on Zoom.
Oh, God damn it. Zoom. I don't know why this thing keeps muting. I guess my mouse is doing something. I'll move the mouse. So look, it takes 9 months to on-ramp a new Bitcoin dev because it's spaghetti code that's very easy to screw up, which is why it's been screwed up so many times in the past. Satoshi wasn't actually a good software developer. Most people don't realize that there was a poker client built in to the original software code. But like the
All of
huge
that is
errors were
irrelevant.
made, and it could be
What
made better, but you
matters-
guys put your head in the stand and don't try.
No,
You have-
because
you can't
trying
even
to
pay
make
your
it
own
better
devs.
and change it. Trying to make it better and change it literally defeats the fucking purpose of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, which is this unchangeable thing. That's the whole fucking point. So it would rug pull the very promise.
So you don't like
represents.
Taproot then, right? You don't like Taproot?
I actually think that Bitcoin shouldn't add a fucking single thing ever again. Like, it should just continue to be what it is, and that's it. I mean, I think Taproot and all the other things that, you know, devs are discussing are fucking irrelevant. At the end of the day, what matters here, the innovation, is a money that doesn't change, like, whose rules don't change.
Yeah, but the rules
That's
do
it.
change. You're just not paying attention.
Well, no,
man.
the rules have never changed. No,
Yes,
because
there was a
my
40%
Bitcoin
throughput
client, my
increase
node
when SegWit was
is-
adopted. What are you talking about? The throughput went up 40% because the 1 megabyte block limit got weighting, and it weighted up to 1.4 megabytes.
Fine.
So that
It's
there's more
still
throughput
backwards
now.
compatible. It's still backwards compatible. So for me, that's fine. My node is still backwards compatible all the way. So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
Well,
what
I'm
you're
arguing
discussing-
for progress, and you're arguing for not progress. I'm arguing for better
correct.
price charts, and you're arguing for
No,
the price
I'm
chart that couldn't beat
arguing
my
for the
Rolexes.
only thing in the world that should be stable is the money. And that is what Bitcoin delivers. That is the problem that has been solved. The very fact that you are able, through your influence and through your supposed intellect and through your opinion, influence and change the actual money makes you lord of the money, which is the fucking
What are you
problem we're
talking
trying
about?
to solve.
I can't change
I do not
hex.
trust.
I can't
Yes,
change
you
hex at
can.
all. How?
Yes, you can.
It's
Yes, you
literally
can, 'cause you're
immutable.
talking
You
about
can't
progress.
possibly change it.
Hold on, but you're just talking about progress.
No, the consensus rules in hex are locked forever. They cannot be changed. The network
how do you
crap
make progress
around
then?
it, the network crap around it that allows throughput to be increased can be changed. The reason that we're more resistant to inflation bugs is because our consensus code is locked and isolated eternally forever.
No,
But
you
yours
do not
isn't, which is why you
scale-
get
do
consensus
not-
bugs.
No, everything in nature and every system, every robust system scales in layers. And that's what Bitcoin does. It scales in fucking layers.
Do you know what else it does?
The reason we
you know what
have
else it does?
arteries,
It
veins,
evolves.
and capillaries,
It also evolves. Yeah.
it still evolves within that framework. Okay.
Yeah. But you know,
Within the
Lightning's not
framework
Bitcoin,
of
right?
Layers.
You understand that Lightning has a different security model than Bitcoin, and different
Of course it
security
does. Exactly.
guarantees,
Exactly.
and different risks,
it
and a
is
different dev
layer-
team.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it is a layer that anchors into Bitcoin.
Uh-huh.
That's the
And you know what else you could run Lightning on? Any other consensus network you want, because it's open
Fantastic.
source
But the
software.
only one
So
that
if you think it helps
matters
you,
is
it'll help the
Bitcoin.
Ethereum guys more.
No, not really.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
Ethereum guys keep changing.
Let's test it.
The foundation upon which Lightning can be plugged into.
Let's
So the
test
whole
it.
Point, what makes? Let me
Who's the
finish.
premier Lightning wallet?
Let me
Strike.
finish.
What do they promote? Fiat with AML KYC. And you guys
Correct.
promote that crap. You promote Strike.
It's a necessary on ramp. So here's the thing.
No, it's not.
Bitcoin is incompatible with the existing system. Bitcoin is fundamentally incompatible with the banking system, with the payment system, with the existing fiat system. And that incompatibility is the feature. Bitcoin is incompatible with the current world. Bitcoin is incompatible with modern banking. Bitcoin is incompatible with PayPal. Bitcoin is incompatible with the current financial and banking system. It is that way by design.
You understand Stripe just integrated Bitcoin. Stripe, the world's
It
like
doesn't-
most
doesn't
popular
matter.
processor.
No, listen. What you're missing.
What are
is
you
my
talking about
point.
incompatible?
Bitcoin,
You're just making
it's-
stuff up. You're just saying stuff that's not true.
No,
Like,
no,
why
no,
are you
let
lying
me
about
finish.
Bitcoin? Bitcoin's good enough.
Are
You
gonna
don't
let
have
me
to lie
finish?
about it.
Are you going to let me finish? Okay. So what I'm saying about Bitcoin's incompatibility is that it doesn't function like the money that we currently have today. You know, when Stripe uses US dollars are some fucking phantom ledger somewhere. In fact, it's not even a fucking ledger anywhere because it's just a bunch of internal ledgers by a bunch of banks, and we don't actually know how many US dollars there are. So it's this made up fucking monopoly funny money. Whereas Bitcoin doesn't function in that realm. It is completely incompatible with that. So what we have to do in order to cross the two,
No, but everything
we
saying
have to
false.
build on ramps. No. Bitcoin's entire
I
accounting
just
model is
described an
UTXOs.
on ramp to you,
Tell
and then
me-
you just said it sucked. And then you just said it was
Listen.
incompatible when I just showed you a compatible thing. I'm just disproving everything you said.
The on-ramp is a bridge between two worlds that are incompatible. Bitcoin exists here and fiat exists here. They don't talk to each other. So in order for them to talk to each other, you need to build on-ramps. Can you not conceptualize this? You're
So
having
if
trouble
Michael Saylor
conceptualizing
just
the
got a
metaphor that I'm
$200
trying to
million
use.
loan from Legacy Finance to get leveraged up to buy Bitcoin, you
Correct.
don't see that as
He
compatibility.
used a bridge. He used a bridge. Do you understand?
Yes,
that
bridges make
you-
things compatible. That's what they do. You're
That's-
here,
so
you
that's
want to
what
go
I'm saying.
there, you
So that's what I'm
compat your
saying.
butt over there. Like,
so, so let me finish my point then. So what I'm saying is that along the way we're going to build bridges that are necessarily fucked up, that necessarily people can poke holes at, whether it's Strike, whether it's Bitfinex, whether it's Unchained Capital, whether it's BlockFi, it doesn't matter. Those bridges by definition have a flaw because they bridge two incompatible worlds. That's what
no, that's the only
say.
reason the bridge
So-
exists. You're not going to disprove
Exactly.
bridges to me. You're not going to disprove finance. You're not going to disprove money. You just
Bridges
misunderstand
exist
these
for
things.
now. No. Bridges exist for now because it's necessary to move on to Bitcoin because there's no other way to move on
No,
there. You
but
don't
you-
just one day.
You're always
have a
going to
fucking
have
US
bridges because you
dollar.
only have 1 million transactions a day of throughput, and you don't even have that.
No,
You
that is
actually have
incorrect.
7 to
No.
13 TPS if the
Who
transactions are
gives
very
a fuck?
small.
Who gives a
So you're
fuck? That's
limited
not
on your
what Bitcoin
ability to
is.
settle on your
Bitcoin's
second
not a
layers.
transaction network. Bitcoin's not a payments network. It
I-
doesn't matter.
I just disproved the thing you were going to say, but you're not paying attention. Your ability to settle layer 2 networks is gated by your layer 1 throughput. The reason that Ethereum is trying to change the way that it charges for gas to give an advantage to layer 2 networks is so that they can
It's never
have
gonna
more
work.
throughut on layer 2.
It's never
It's
gonna
already
work. It's
working.
never gonna
It's
work.
already
It's
working.
not
It's
gonna
already
work.
been working for a
Ethereum
year.
cannot scale. No, Ethereum cannot scale.
Ethereum has
No
increased the gas
network-
limit how many times? 10 times, and it's worked just
Because
fine,
it's
which is
still
why
not
they
gonna
get
work.
10 times the fees you guys get. You guys used to
It's-
brag that Bitcoin was the thing that got all the use because people paid all the fees on it. And now you make less than a tenth of what the Ethereum miners make.
Thanks to NFTs and thanks
Well,
to every other fucking shitcoin that's
yeah.
being launched. Okay,
No,
so,
I
so
mean,
you
well,
can't
thanks
use that
because
as
they
an
have a
argument.
ton of demand and not much
From-
supply. And I'm
From
helping
a new
solve that.
Ponzi every 6 months. From a new Ponzi every
No,
6
but you
months.
just
Like,
have a
of course
worse
you're gonna have
Ponzi is
demand
what
in
you
a
don't
stupid
understand.
world.
There's no base demand for Bitcoin. It's a speculative investment. It's a risk on investment. When the stock
The
market
base
dies,
demand-
Bitcoin dies. When the stock market goes up, Bitcoin goes up. Bitcoin's dropped 85% 4 times. It dropped
And it'll keep
65% in
doing
2
that.
weeks for COVID. Don't tell me it's the blue chip when you only outperformed
don't
Dogecoin
care
by
about
10%.
blue chip, dude.
And you didn't even
Dude,
actually
I don't care
outperform
about
it.
blue
Dogecoin
chip.
is still up
I don't
versus
care
Bitcoin.
about blue chip. You're again, once again, framing my position on Bitcoin.
Well, I'm
through
glad one of
something
us is
about
because you're not
gains.
doing a good job framing your arguments.
No, I don't care about the gains that are involved in Bitcoin. Like, I'm not here.
You don't you understand that money
make
is
money.
a war for liquidity and the most liquid money is more useful? Don't you understand that?
And Bitcoin is still winning that war.
It's
and it'll
Econ
keep winning
101.
that war because it doesn't change.
It's
That's the
barely
thing.
winning it.
So what'll
Barely.
happen is everything is going to keep cycling, and as people fucking get washed up, and as they get cleaned up, as they get into the wrong Ponzis,
You
the right
guys were about to
Ponzis,
get
this,
flipped by
that,
Ethereum by a
everything
2x.
is going to flow back into Bitcoin.
Ethereum was a 2x away from flipping you. Ethereum outperformed you from the COVID dip 3-fold. I outperformed you 1,000-fold. You guys are underperforming in
Congratulations.
every measurable metric, but
Congratulations.
you're not measuring
You
the
know,
world.
Nancy Pelosi also outperformed most hedge
No,
fund
but there's a
managers.
difference
Well, that
between
doesn't
using
make her
insider
fucking better,
information
okay?
and giving people choice and then
Yes.
choosing the better
you,
thing.
You are the insider in this shitcoin situation, because you're.
It's a good thing I
minting
tell
it
you all the
yourself,
stuff
you're
for free.
creating it yourself.
It's a good thing I called the
Fantastic,
Bitcoin top
you
on the
know?
day for free.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi also had a tracker on Twitter, so that was telling everyone things.
They
too.
banned
So,
it.
like, at the
Okay,
end of the day,
Cancel culture.
I have a question for Richard.
Go ahead. Yeah.
You, as this insider who is helping everyone.
Yep.
That is an assumption that you are telling the truth.
How you just
or what
verified all. I give you the links.
How or what reason do we have to buy into what you say? Tomorrow you could wake up and change something in your protocol because
Nope.
you yourself control it.
It doesn't work that way. I
So
live.
explain
I-
that deeper.
You could
Sure.
if you needed to.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
I say to my devs, hey devs,
The
we're doing the
contradictions.
world's largest airdrop. We're giving everyone a free copy of everything on the Ethereum network, every single coin, free copy. And then we're incentivizing people with a token to bridge in liquidity to back their
Inflation.
PRC20 to ERC20 value. Okay. You know, it would be awesome. It would be awesome if we didn't have to give any coins to those scumbag exchanges that steal everyone's money, rob everyone's money, don't give the users their money. It's disgusting. When BitMEX was given free Bitcoin Cash, they just dumped them. When the Bitcoin Mt. Gox founder was given free Bitcoin Cash, they just dumped them. I don't want to see people getting dumped on to enrich these bastards that are centralizing everything. So I asked my devs, I'm like, hey devs, can we just not give PRC20s to these addresses that we know are exchanges? And they're like, actually, no, it's actually really hard because these contracts have interdependencies with all these other contracts, and they're their own isolated things. And whereas we can edit the Ethereum balances and reduce by 1.2 million X the amount that the original Ethereum holders get. So like Vitalik's got 300,000 Ethereum. He's only going to get like $30 a free pulse. Everybody else is sacrificed for charity, right? They're going to get tons more free pulse because it's in a different ledger basically. And so there's things like, and then other people, some guy said, hey, Richard, you know, all those coins that were sent to the address that are locked there forever. Like if you send an ERC20 directly to the contract address, usually it's lost forever. No one can ever access it. There are very few exceptions where there's admin keys like Tether or Circle can use their admin keys to just invalidate those coins that would have otherwise been locked forever and then hook the user up and give them to the user with, I don't know, AML, KYC or whatever. But on real coins that don't have admin keys like mine, I can't change anything. It's just locked forever. When Ethereum decided to make some changes that I didn't like in the network, I knew that I had to create a whole new network because I couldn't edit or change anything in the original network. It's immutable. It's unchangeable. Cannot be changed.
You need a nice editable network.
But
you can only minimize trust so far. There is a limit. You have to trust your keyboard. You have to trust your eyes.
What you said to start this answering my question was you go to the developers and you say to the developers that we're going to do this. So that
and then they told me you can't. It's not doable.
Yeah.
The design of the system makes it impossible to do. I cannot change the hex code no matter what. I cannot go and edit people's ERC20 balances.
You fucking edit it or not? Which one is it?
You can't.
Centralized.
You cannot change it. It's unchangeable. I don't know what part of immutable is unclear to you. The hex code cannot be changed. Period. Ever.
Okay. You did just say
I had to make a whole new network. And even on that one, it's not changed.
But you just said, hold on, your words were, I had to make a whole new network.
Yeah.
Because when Vitalik changed something,
yes,
it affected me. So we wanted to have more ability to influence our own network.
Yes.
They were your words, roughly. So I don't understand what that means. The ability
That's what
to
freedom
influence
looks
your network. No. Well, okay, fine.
Do you know what free and open source means? You know how Bitcoin's free and open source? The free and open part means please copy it and make it better, and then we'll adopt some of the changes in. Cool. Which I believed that story until I found out it was false. You're never going to adopt anything, which is why you don't have on-chain exchange. You don't have anonymity. Everyone that tries to use anonymity in Bitcoin gets wrecked. The poor people that had 1.2 billion that they stole from Finex, they couldn't even launder it properly because you guys don't have anonymity in your system. But if they'd used Tornado Cash with ZK snarks, I bet they wouldn't have got caught.
We shouldn't have anonymity on the base chain anyway.
What?
Sorry, Alex?
Svetsky, you go. Svetsky, you can.
Okay. All right.
People that kept their private keys on the cloud. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
No, they had multiple failures. That was just one of their failures. They also failed at the mixing level. And if you don't want their reference for failing at the mixing level, I could give you. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Having ZK snarks technology for anonymity in the protocol is safer than ring signatures with hoping a bunch of guys are in your anonymity set. They're not colluding.
That's gonna create another fucking angle or another vector for a potential problem.
No,
okay? So,
better and worse software exist, and ZK snarks are superior to ring signatures. Fact. Period. There's no arguing.
That creates a hard fork. So that presupposes the idea that someone implementing that on Bitcoin on the fucking base layer presupposes.
That's right. You'll never have it because you guys have no roadmap because your stuff sucks, but everyone else has it.
No, it doesn't.
Because we have
EVM.
Let me finish. We have turn completion.
No. Exactly, and that's a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Exactly why you're going to end up with fucking problems that you can't predict. Because
why do you have two inflation bugs and Ethereum has zero? Tell me, software guy. Why does Ethereum have bug bounty program and you don't? Why does Ethereum have 10,000 developers and you have like 5? Because your stuff sucks.
Ethereum needs to pay people to fucking influence and change the rules, right?
No,
so
let
me just.
I'm doing it for free.
Something you mentioned earlier. I want to mention something earlier. So you mentioned, dropping, airdrops and all this sort of stuff. Like,
yes.
For me, that
it's
sounds
not just
like
me.
Literally,
it's like everybody.
Everybody, exactly. So you're literally marketing the fact that
we're doing what Satoshi did. We're giving RA free coins to on-ramp users, just like Satoshi did. Yes.
Fucking let me finish. You're creating inflation out of thin air. So how does that make you different to the Jerome Powells and all of those of the world who are basically minting money out of thin air? That's effectively what they're doing. You're just doing it.
You're performing an illogical fallacy called the assumption of parts, where you don't understand that one thing is different from another thing. Giving someone a new thing is not the same as inflating another thing. Giving someone an airline mile is not the same thing as giving them a real ticket. They're different. They're not the same thing. Giving someone a different coin with a different ticker and different
When it
users,
comes to
with
money,
a different use
when it comes
case.
to money, it's exactly the same thing. When it comes to money,
No,
it's
but
exactly
you
the
see,
same
your
thing.
problem is you think Bitcoin is money and you don't understand that money is not as important as store value. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be peer-to-peer digital
Store
cash. It's
value
written in the
is
first
an
line of the white
element of
paper.
money.
I'm going to teach you about Bitcoin because I know more about it than you do.
Please define cash. Please define cash.
We already did that, and I already remember
cash,
doing it.
not money. Not money, cash. Define cash. There's a difference between money and cash.
Listen, I'm quoting you the Bitcoin white paper. I think that that's fair game in a Bitcoin debate.
I'm not Craig
Peer-to-peer
Wright.
digital cash. You can allow people to interact with each other without a middleman by doing timestamping, use a proof of work network. That's in Bitcoin wrapped up in its entirety. Notice in the white paper, he doesn't mention the halvening. He doesn't mention the one size block limit. He doesn't mention a lot of really other important things in there, but he does mention those things, peer-to-peer digital cash. Do you know who uses Bitcoin as peer-to-peer digital cash today? No one. Do you know why? Because sometimes you have to wait 6 hours to get a transaction through for one confirmation.
I used it for dinner, and that was pretty easy for me.
No, dude.
You're lying. You're just lying at this point.
Tell me my lie, please. Tell me.
Okay, well, I'll point out the lie.
Bitcoin is peer-to-peer digital cash. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, me too.
I'm talking about you guys don't have enough throughput to handle any video games currency at all. Any video game, Clash of Clans, anybody. Your network would fall over because you don't have the throughput, so you can't use it as cash.
Because we're solving a bigger problem. We're solving a bigger problem.
That's right.
Give a fuck about
that's right. But you have to be honest about it and say that Bitcoin changed. The original intention of Bitcoin was to be peer-to-peer digital cash. It failed. Then it was to be programmable money. It failed. Then it was store of gold. It succeeded, and thank God, because it's a bigger use case.
Hey,
store of gold.
Bitcoin doesn't change. It does change over time, Richard.
Yes, like pitifully small amounts. Yes, correct. It got a 40% throughput increase 5 years ago. That's right. Yep.
Okay.
And that's about all it got in 5 years. And do you know what everybody else got? We got a lot. I designed the world's first time deposit. I would have built it on Bitcoin, but it's useless. Try and tell Bitcoin to wake you up in the morning. My phone can wake me up in the morning. Bitcoin can't. You can't program it to do crap. The new features they add, you don't even use.
Trying to build a Rube Goldberg machine.
They added.
Like, it doesn't matter.
No, all Hex is Bitcoin. All Hex is Bitcoin with a proof of work change. Instead of paying people to destroy the environment, we pay them to hold the price up. We give inflation to stakers to hold the price up.
So you're one of the climate change hysterics as well, are you? So
it's not hysterics. It's pure math.
It's total fucking it's not. It's total hysterics.
Well,
you think we have the capacity to fucking change the fucking climate because
we have a capacity to change the quality of the air. If you don't think it affects the climate, that's fine. But when you have more particulates in the air, more people die.
Air in a local area, yes.
Listen,
but that has nothing to do with Bitcoin mining.
I don't understand why you love miners. They sell Bitcoin. They buy hardware from weird foreign manufacturers and enrich electricity companies. They sell the Bitcoin price down. They hurt the Bitcoin price. I removed that negative externality.
I didn't care about the Bitcoin price. I didn't care about the Bitcoin price.
Can we have anyone listening at home, could you please raise your hand if you care about the Bitcoin price? Okay, I care about the Bitcoin price. You know what else I care about? The price of almost anything that I'm associated with. I care about all the prices. What are you, man? Are you a hippie? Why don't you care about prices? What's wrong with you, dude? You don't like getting deals? Is there something mentally wrong with you if you don't understand how important prices are?
Do you want me to finish?
Yes, please.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yes.
Or no?
You think it's more moral to not know what prices are? It's not.
No. I'm not talking about moral. No. For me, the short-term price is purely noise.
Oh, short-term. Short-term.
Richard, stop. Please let him finish his point.
Finish.
Chris, mute him.
For me, the reason I'm holding Bitcoin is it's a big fuck you to the existing established state. When I hold my wealth in Bitcoin, no cunt can touch it. No cunt can inflate it. No cunt can take it from me. No dickhead state or fucking bureaucratic government or banker wanker or you or anybody else can fuck with the wealth that I hold. That's why I hold it. For me, it's a big fuck you. That is the primary reason. So it's like a personal sovereignty thing. Now, the fact that I'm so early on something that is going to take multiple decades and multiple centuries to emerge as money, because as the us, motherfuckers are going to be running around looking for a place to store the product of their labor, which cannot be fucking taken from them and cannot be changed or is not fucking designed to be a gaming fucking token. As that occurs, you have a limited fucking supply and you have capital inflow coming in. the price is going in one fucking direction over time. So for me, that longer term trend is the only thing that's important. And I get I get the opportunity to be early on that because this is a multi-generational transition. You are just fucking impatient, and I can fucking see it in you, dude.
Oh,
Like
God.
you talk about self-help and all that fucking shit, but dude, I mean, I don't like. This is gonna be me sounding like a cunt, but dude, you can't even control how much fucking food goes into your mouth, for fuck's sake. Like, you know, so like
I'm having a heart attack. The gravy got me.
Seriously, this short-termism is perfectly explains why you and I see Bitcoin differently.
Let me ask you a question.
Also, when
What
it
do
comes
you-
to Richard, Hex is below 15 cents. It has never beat 50 cents. So I don't know what you're on about
It used to
here.
be 56.55 cents. That was its 10,000x that it did before staking.
Oh,
Then it
wow.
dipped. Yeah.
My mistake. 56 cents. Got it.
Yes, volatility is the price you pay for the world's best performing asset. That's what I tell people when they ask me why Bitcoin keeps crashing 85 and 95% all the time. I tell them that's the price you pay for the best performing asset. You know what else I tell them? I tell them the best time to buy Bitcoin was when Satoshi owned all the coins, 100%. And when Satoshi was 100% of the miners, and there was no liquidity, and you could barely buy it from one little weird exchange called Magic the Gathering online exchange out of Japan. That was the best time to buy Bitcoin. But then when I give the same opportunity to Bitcoiners again and give them the ability to mint for free something that has superior design parameters, a better logo, a better brand name, a better
Satoshi and
website.
Hex is not Bitcoin, and
compare
the world is not moving on the Hex standard. Okay, Jesus Christ, get your head.
No,
out of
you
ass.
bought the top
Same
of an S
opportunity
curve,
at all to
and you think
buy
you're
into your
brilliant.
fucking scam. It's a centralized scam.
Bro, it's fine. If you don't like Hex, maybe you like Pulse Chain. You don't like Pulse Chain, maybe you like Pulse X. You don't like Pulse X, maybe you like the wallet I'll be like releasing. I'm
No,
going to
bro, I'm
continue
not
to build
into
things while you
centralized
guys keep
people,
worshiping
bro.
ossification.
not
I'm
into
fixing the world.
centralized Bitcoin. I won't be buying any of that shit.
That's fine, bro. You're the person that we make fun of. We take you and we take your chart, we make fun of it. We put the two charts next to each other and we cuckold you and we say, look, we're banging the mad gains while you're watching wanking in the corner. We make fun of you guys.
$50,000. What are you talking about? Which one does the market appreciate more?
You're taught. So when I tell you that the best time to buy Bitcoin was when Satoshi owned 100% of the coins, you literally, right after I give you that truth, that droplet of truth, you say the opposite thing as though you learned nothing. You bought the top. The world's richest guy already bought. Yeah, Elon Musk already bought. Nation states have already bought. It's already been made legal in El Salvador. You guys think that's better instead of worse. Pro tip, guys, when people have already bought, they can't move the price up anymore. They can only sell, which is why you don't understand why everyone outperforms you.
Are you seriously assuming that
Immutable
a
property
large
can't be
hold on.
complicated or fucked with.
Alex, let Svetsky go.
Your chart
Let
is
Svetsky-
terrible, and I'm telling you why it's terrible, and you're sticking your head in the stand, and you're not letting the information in. You guys are the guys that are
talking about a
outperformed
chart,
by
bro.
everything in crypto. You guys are the guys that have no gains. You guys are the guys that have no on-chain exchange, no anonymity, no stable coin, no hope of a roadmap for the future. You guys have your strike lightning guy shilling fiat and AML KYC. You guys lost the plot and you never updated your worldview. And then you walk into easy traps like asking me what I care about personal development when I'm the only self-help author that I'm aware of in the whole fucking world that made a cryptocurrency and gave it away for free exclusively to Bitcoin holders.
Sir, I'm sorry, but just from looking at you, you shouldn't be giving out self-help advice.
Yeah, because I'm sure Michael Jordan's coach could dunk on him, right? I'm sure if a homeless dude told you to brush your teeth, you wouldn't do it out of spite. You guys have so much to learn. It's crazy.
Okay. We are getting to a point now where we've lost the plot. So we're going to come back to the plot.
I like it.
I want to give Svetsky an opportunity because you have tried very patiently, and I appreciate that. Please go ahead with the point you've been trying to make, Svetsky.
To be honest, I actually fucking forgot the point that
Okay.
I'm trying to make. But look, let me. I will pull another note.
We care
on
about
that.
the same
Like,
stuff, guys. We want the same
I know,
things.
I know.
We want people to hold their own keys.
Richard,
We
please
hate
let
the
him make
fiat
his
system.
point. Richard,
We
please let
care-
him make his point. He has waited patiently to speak.
Look, here's what I'll say, Richard. I think I feel like bad because instead of you using your intellect, because you're clearly a fucking smart guy. You're not stupid. You know you get it.
I like
but
this guy.
Instead of you using your intellect for, thinking longer term about what Bitcoin actually means for civilization, like you've decided to basically print fake digital money in order to like compensate for I don't know what, because we all compensate for something. I get it. You know what I mean? Like you're I don't know
get
what it
laid
is
like
that
mad,
you're
dude.
okay.
Mad.
I mean, paying for getting laid is
I
congratulations.
don't pay.
mean,
I get,
you know-
people have daddy's issues, and I play a great daddy role. I get laid
Okay.
more than imaginable.
fantastic. I mean, if that's what you
I
assert,
like it,
then
yes.
congratulations.
If you
But,
have a
like,
sister or a hot friend, and you
All
want
right,
to
let's
DM me, it's cool.
Stetsky make
look,
his point.
the
High boys don't count.
what I'm just saying is that the only people that are like following you and doing anything with Hex are like the people that are on. I don't know if you can see my screen, but the fucking brain dead lemmings that like that need a leader. Like you basically made yourself like a blend of Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre, which is someone who's bragging about being rich, thinks that
Oh my
he's a
God.
god, thinks that he's better than fucking Satoshi apparently, and has added more value or whatever. Like it's like, instead of using your intellect for something useful, like I don't know what the fuck you're doing, bro. Like,
you know who called out
drop the
Satoshi
charade.
in person? You know who called out fake Satoshi in person?
I know you did. Yeah.
I did, and Vitalik did in person. And a lot of Bitcoiners don't have the balls. He slapped a couple lawsuits on them, and they shut right up. So, and he just won a suit against McCormick. I think McCormick owns him 90,000 pounds now in his defamation suit. So
It shows you how fucking retarded the world is.
the world
Like,
sucks. The world does
yeah,
suck.
the
And
world
look, we
fucking sucks.
agree on a lot of stuff. We agree in clown world. We agree wokeism sucks. We agree in self-sovereignty. We agree in anonymity. We agree on we prefer more secure software. We agree fiat sucks. We agree that trusting math is better than trusting men. We agree on a lot of these things. The difference is that Bitcoin used to be the only good game in town. It really was. And everything else sucked. And I was a Bitcoin maximalist when that world occurred. Ethereum rolled back the chain with the default carbon vote, scam, trash. But guess what? Another hack happened when these Polkadot guys lost 600,000 Ethereum. And Gavin Wood, who founded that project, also wrote the Ethereum code. He wrote Solidity, the code that everyone makes their contracts in. They didn't bail him out. So that guy losing 600,000 was the literal factual proof that there would never be another bailout in the system, because the most inside of possible insiders didn't get bailed out for 600,000 Ethereum, which, by the way, now is $3 billion.
Yeah,
Still
I mean,
sitting
so
there
he
locked
went and-
forever
So he
because
went
of
and
bad
printed
code.
his own fucking coin because he doesn't give a fuck. So
Well, yeah,
I
maybe,
mean,
but it just proves that Ethereum is resistant against a lot of the things that people try and say that are bad about it. Now, look, I know Ethereum has problems. I think the gas fees are too high. I don't actually like them giving the L2 guys a discount. I think that forking over to Ethereum 2.0 is going to introduce perhaps some bugs, which I'd rather stay on the older, more battle-tested software. which is what Pulse Chain is built around. So like, you know, we believe a lot of the same things, but the difference is I feel that I have some knowledge that you guys are purposely depriving yourselves of, because you see all the crap coiners out there, you see all the JPEG meme coins, you're disgusted by them, I'm disgusted by them, but then it poisons your vision and you stop looking and you don't realize there's actual innovation. On-chain exchange and removing counterparty risk is a gigantic innovation, an absolutely gigantic innovation, a miracle if Bitcoin could have it. ZK snarks and actual anonymity is a miracle if Bitcoin could have it. Higher throughput and just increasing the gas size all the time and it's working fine. 3-second transaction finality is what we have in Pulse. 13-second is what they have in Ethereum. You know, these are real world differences. When you go to deposit your coins in one of those disgusting exchanges, it is. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you.
Transaction finality has to do with the economic cost of reversing a transaction.
That is correct.
Okay?
Yes, that is right.
So,
I agree with you. And do you know the best way to measure what the real finality of your transaction is? When the exchange will actually let you sell it for fiat and send you the wire. And I can tell you that if you look,
fuck the exchange. Because the exchanges are a necessary short-term fucking evil that we need to use to bridge old shit clown world that we're living in and moving on to a world in which
but it's like saying you want to meet girls, but screw talking. I don't like talking. You have to talk, man. I mean, unless you've got real good abs, you kind of have to talk. So you need to stop.
Really good abs. I'm going to interject now. I want to have the two discuss this. Exchanges are a hot topic. That they have been a hot topic throughout this discussion. Obviously, there are different versions of this. Where at a certain point does this centralized aspect of exchanges hurt both Bitcoin and Hex?
It's a necessary evil. So basically, it's like you're a virus. Like you could say Bitcoin's a virus, crypto's the virus. We're trying to take over and make the old thing better. But the problem is we need docking sites to do that. And so in order, like Western culture's docking site to try and influence cultures we might not like is movies and music and clothes and style and jokes and celebrities. You need docking sites. And so if you want to take the economic energy of the world and get it into crypto where it's safer than in the dumpster fire that's going to zero, which is all fiat currencies, then you have to be able to accept their money. And this is something that I don't know why Bitcoiners lost the plot on it. You could spend your Bitcoin more places in 2017 than you can now. It's weird. You used to be able to spend it on Newegg, and they just stopped accepting it. You used to be able to spend it on Wikipedia, and then they hit it behind 20 levels, if it's even still there.
There's no way that's true. You can spend it in more places in 2017.
No, we used to have good adoption back then. I'm listing you places that you could use it, but now you can't. You used to be able to buy Teslas with it. Now you can't. This keeps happening over and over again.
There were not more places in 2017 that you could spend Bitcoin than there are now. There's an entire
Bro, as a person that likes to spend crypto, I got to tell you, I know where they accept it and where they don't. And it's not, maybe Stripe integrating it will help fix this. You have to have it. Look, let me tell you the solution. I have the solution. I will tell you the solution. I have the solution for you. Okay. We both want the same thing here. The solution is that these regulatory arbitrage rent-seeking scumbags that use money transmitter laws so that you can't just sell it to your neighbor or you worry about being an unlicensed money registrar and going to jail for 20 years. That is the locus of the problem. You should be able to sell your crypto to your neighbor just like you sell a fucking lemonade, and they made that illegal. You should be able to sell lemonades, and you should be able to sell your crypto to your neighbor, and then we don't have to get funneled through these middlemen that made more money than Satoshi did. Brian Armstrong made more money rent-seeking people with regulatory arbitrage on Coinbase and funding crap coins like obfuscated margin trading with rebasing coins, which I won't directly name. He's funded a lot of bad projects. He lists a lot of bad projects. A lot of things go to zero right after they list on Coinbase. And this guy's got billions of dollars on the backs of users because of regulatory arbitrage, because there's only 3 or 4 banks that'll take crypto. If people could sell the crypto amongst themselves, it would solve the problem. Not necessary evil if we can get the laws changed so that you're not risking a money transmitter license violation. If we could get those laws changed, the exchange rent seeking goes away, and it increases our ability to bring everyone to a better world.
Okay. Can I go?
That's your turn.
Yeah. So you made my point in the beginning, which is, docking sites, etc. That's effectively what all these are. And because the world is such a clown fucking world in which, ridiculous, like in order for human beings to transact and interact with each other, we need to ask permission from fucking scumbags to do so. We've had the emergence of products and services such as shitcoin casinos like fucking Coinbase and whatever other, list your shitcoin casino, right? So we agree with that. But this is like,
But you're missing out on one thing. I was on ramp to Bitcoin by a freemium offer of double clicking an EXE me on computer. And I was only able to take advantage of that offer because it was a gamer and I had a very strong video card. Freemium on ramping and coupons is an effective way to on ramp users, and having different narrative pitches to reach into different people that care about different things. If you want to get the hippies on board, a lot of this corporate mad gain stuff, they hate it. They want to talk about the environment. Okay, we got something for you guys. Oh, you like stupid JPEG monkey pictures. Oh, cool. We got something for you. You have to get these guys engaged, because if you don't get them into crypto, they will go gamble on something worse. And so having these narrative memes helps. It doesn't hurt, which is why alts and Bitcoin max at the same time and die at the same time. They're related.
Thank you for saying that, because this is where you and I guess differ, is that people who think that Bitcoin is just a variation on a fucking stupid JPEG or a variation on some coin or whatever, they deserve to go somewhere else and learn what the pain is of fucking losing money, so that when the time comes when they really want to value the product of their labor, they have to fucking find Bitcoin. That for me is really important, because I don't care about trying to remove the pain receptor from a fucking person. Coming back to that original analogy that we tried,
because not everyone has the same tools, bro. There's truly, listen, I have a lot of people, because I give away free coins, I have a lot of non-English speaking people that I swear to God they have lower IQs. I swear to God, these people, man,
I know.
I'm talking,
sure
these are dumb. And I get hundreds of messages from people that get hacked. And I've done everything I can to try and save these people. Please, God, stop handing out your seed words. Please, for the love of God, no matter who messages you, please don't give out your seed words. And in the wallet, it tells them, don't ever give out your seed words. And I'm telling you, I've got 400 people that just hand out their keys.
You can't fix that by cushioning them further.
You can.
That is actually a symptom of no. This is the government's fucking solution to fixing the fucking world, is create enough fucking guidelines and cushions.
No, they're just doing it wrong.
Things like that.
They're doing it wrong.
No, they're not doing it wrong. No. The best.
You're
way
the
to
guy that
fucking
time
fix
locked
the
your
world is
coins.
Get the fuck out of the way.
You're the guy that time locked your coins. Why'd you do that?
Richard,
To protect your future self from your current self.
Richard, let Svetsky finish his point, please.
Correct. Exactly. So I did it for myself, not somebody else. That's the fucking whole point, is that we live in a world in which a person's fucking sovereignty is dependent upon an institution like a fucking government, or like a fucking bank, or like a central bank, or like some fucking regulator. That's the whole point. Bitcoin is a movement towards responsibility, in which when you make a fucking mistake, you can't go backwards. If you jump off a fucking cliff in real life, you die. There's no rewind button. This isn't a game. And that is what Bitcoin kind of fucking maps in reality.
No, but
is that there is no fucking rewind button. There's no one to bail you out. There's no one to save you. And that's a beautiful thing, because what that does is it forces individuals to become fucking stronger.
no, it doesn't, dude. People just stay stupid.
You're muted again, bro. You muted again.
So listen, there's a great comedian named George Carlin. And George Carlin was anti-establishment, he cared about people. But the problem when you care about people and you feel powerless to help them is you start to get what's called sour grapes. And sour grapes is basically like, I didn't want that anyway because it would have sucked. I could have helped those people, but they're so dumb they would have lost their money another way. You can't get disengaged. You can't get jaded. You can't give up on people. You have to keep trying. And I'm telling you, I designed something to get thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to do what you did, because I designed something that mechanized and game theory mechanic improved their behavior. What do you think the average stake length in Hex is? What do you think the average stake length in Hex is?
I don't know.
It's Nobel Prize worthy. It's so long it'll drop your jaw. In the history of finance, there's never been any product that's ever been designed where people have locked up hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars now, for an average length of 6.37 years. You cannot, if you make to get an average of 6.5 years.
What the fuck? What are you talking about? I don't understand how that works.
Well, you time lock your money. The average time lock in Hex is 6.37 years.
Yeah.
And it used to be 4 years. But as the system is at 100% perfect flawless operation for several years now, people keep making longer and longer stakes. And so and I gave these coins away for free to Bitcoiners, and I got them to take their coins off of exchange. I created something that gets people to delay gratification, not trade, get their coins off of exchange, give them to them for free. And we see huge emotional health benefits to these people that exceed what I was able to get them by writing self-help books, by producing self-help videos. The currency and getting people to have something beautiful to look forward to in the future outperformed in these people's lives emotionally anything that I tried to do directly. So I was outperformed as a self-help person by the currency, and I didn't design it to do that. I didn't know it would have that side effect.
I would argue that you've potentially, and you might need to be careful on this one, is you've potentially given people the false illusion that they can make wealth, they can create wealth by locking something into effectively what you and I'm going to use your words, like an effective Ponzi.
That's what you did. You're describing me or you, because that's what you did.
No, because I actually work for
you just don't realize
I continue to work. No, I build
you just have more negative externalities. What you have is the negative.
I write, I do all this other shit so that I can continue to build wealth. And then
I prefer you to be a net buyer. I like it. Yeah. So I'm just saying, Bitcoin and Hex, and first of all, I could just choose Pulse Chain and sidestep all this stuff, right? I could be like, oh, look, another consensus network, they're more similar, and we have higher throughput, lower fees.
Talk about the pre-mines of those, please.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of centralized supply, just like when Satoshi used to have 100%. When new networks start, they're centralized. So every new network has to start from a specific locus. No matter how much marketing energy you put in it, you're going to have less people in the beginning than later.
Pre-mine, just to clarify,
no,
you pre-mine.
But there's difference between centralization and ownership and centralization and network structure, and Bitcoiners mix this up all the time. It is extremely useful to have censorship resistance. It is the only good thing a blockchain does. Otherwise, it's just an expensive database. The world's most unreliable and most expensive database. You literally have to check back in that it was written and it wasn't orphaned and dropped. You have to check back in that there wasn't a fork, which would be similar to bit rot in the normal world. You have to run your own computers offline to verify that the chain that you're looking at is the real chain and you're not part of an eclipse attack and that it's the longest chain. There's a bunch of really crappy things that go into designing in a software that touches a blockchain. And so in our blockchain systems, when you, God darn it, the answer got so long, I missed the first part. What was I talking about?
Why did you pre-mine Hex?
Oh, sure. So when you have a centralized mining ecosystem, they can censor transactions, they can perform 51% attacks. And so having centralization at the node infrastructure is very damaging. But having centralization in the ownership is very powerful, which is why the majority of every valuable thing in the entire world is centrally owned. So for instance, you'll see Elon Musk talking crap about Dogecoin because it has too many whales, but he owns 20% of Tesla. You'll see that 2,300 addresses hold 42.3% of all Bitcoin.
You're conflating that with control of Bitcoin, the network?
No, I'm showing you that they're separate. That's my point, is that they are separate. I'm doing the opposite of conflation. I'm delineating their differences. Massive centralization and the control structure of the coins has not affected the censorship resistance of the network because they're orthogonal. They're at 90 degrees to each other. They're in the same ballpark. They're two sides of the same coin, but they're different. Centralized ownership is very powerful for price, and it's the reason that you see all of these ERC20s with massively centralized ownership doing absolutely insane run-ups that Bitcoin can't do because Bitcoin's too decentralized in the ownership. It's too heavy now. So I have to de-educate people of these very common memes that they fall on, which is censorship resistance, good. Decentralization and network, good. Decentralization and ownership, actually bad for price. And no one else advertises that.
If you're not here for price, it's not bad for price at all. You're here for US dollar fiat gains, so it appears bad to you. But for someone who's looking for a stable, unconfiscatable like store of property,
you got to stop saying unconfiscatable because Ross Ulbricht gets really angry when you do that.
Why?
Because he got all his Bitcoin confiscated.
Yeah, because he got personally targeted.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys need to stop. Like, listen, I want to help. The better Bitcoin does, the better I do. I would hope that you guys could on-ramp tons of people. Now, look, I'd rather buy my thing than your thing. But if they're going to buy something, I'd rather they buy your thing than GameStop stock or AMC stock or whatever. Okay. I prefer people buy, if you won't buy my thing, buy Ethereum. If you won't buy Ethereum, buy Bitcoin. Fine. But like, you got to stop lying about it. You should never say the words confiscatable, not a single time ever in your life, because it gets confiscated constantly. Crypto is confiscated
But
every
the
day.
It
You
gets
can buy it from the federal
confiscated
marshals
at the
every
bridge,
day.
dude. It gets confiscated at the bridge. The docking points that we're
Yeah,
discussing.
and to the
before,
end
okay?
user, that matters what?
That's the same as you. They can confiscate someone's fucking hex.
Well,
Same
they can
thing.
turn off AWS and you're fucked.
Yeah.
So,
No,
it's totally
no, they can't.
That's an even
dude,
bigger
I already
fucking problem.
explained this. I told you that you have just-in-time resiliency. We already saw Infura go down. Everything was fine. Copy paste a different RPC code. You guys
Look,
are making
at
stuff
the end
up,
of
and
the
it's
day,
not necessary.
Your argument against unconfiscatability is exactly
No, just
like,
use better
actually
terms. Say
works against
censorship
you.
resistant. Just say censorship resistant. You can still look. If you lose your keys, you lose your money. It's not
Look,
unconfiscatable.
Bitcoin
It's
on
just
the
a,
Bitcoin
it's just,
network. On the Bitcoin network, in that realm, it is unconfiscatable. That is actually by definition true. So let's assume that. Let's just play a game here.
if
is
you're into
that
scamming people with
100 years from
linguistics,
now-
you go ahead and scam them. But I'm going to tell them the
No,
truth. It's
no,
not
look,
unconfiscatable.
Let's just
If you
play
lose
a
your
game.
keys, it
100
gets
years from
confiscated.
now,
That's it.
by who?
By anybody that has your keys. It's a race. Whoever uses their keys first gets the money. Because here's the other thing. You don't even have your own money. There's nuance in Bitcoin that's actually very useful from a legal term. And since we're all under regulatory attack right now, I want you guys to use a superior language. You do not even hold your own Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin is held on the network. You do not even have custody of your own Bitcoin. You just happen to think you're the only person that has that key. But you don't even really know if you're the only person that has that key, because you could have a rat malware, a remote access Trojan on your computer that also has that key. Or someone could have evil maid attacked you and put a keylogger on your computer when you took a piss. Or someone could have a camera over your shoulder when you type in your seed words. You don't actually know that you're the only person that has that key to those funds, which are actually custodied on chain. And it's important because they're attacking us from a custody angle. The government is attacking all of us right now. And we need to get this language very precise and very clear to help unscrew ourselves. Like another trick that they're using in the government, unhosted wallet. So if I just happen to be one of the people that may know the keys to this address, that's called an unhosted wallet. And we stuck an adjective in the front with un. How about I just know the key? I have knowledge. Am I allowed to have knowledge of math still? And what about mining? Am I allowed to run computation on my computer? Because that's all it is. And if money is speech, which Citizens United ruling at the Supreme Court in the United States says that money is speech, and if privacy is a right that we're all supposed to have, Fourth Amendment, United Nations Charter, et cetera, why is every violating privacy? And why do they?
Privacy is not a right. Privacy is responsibility, and it's a service. This idea that privacy is a right. No, you can't just conjure up a fucking right without there being a responsibility on the other side. Okay, so someone has to provide the right. Am I right or wrong? Like, so if
You're
I
wrong.
have a right
They're
for
given by
fucking housing,
God. Every single document that has to do with human rights says that they're given by God and not given by the country.
There's only property rights. Human rights are a fucking scam. Human rights are just things that people make up to encroach upon other people's property rights. No, don't fucking scratch your head.
You have only two things left
of
of the government that could still maybe try and help you fight back. And you're like, no, I don't believe in those couple things that I have left. Look, man.
No, hold on.
The Bill of Rights.
Explain to me, what's a human right? What's a human right? Give me an example.
Okay. Your ability to freedom of movement is a human right. You're not allowed to abridge someone's freedom of movement without a very strong reason to do so. Your ability to speak or address your government. Your ability to
movement is a property right, by the way. But anyway.
Yeah, life, liberty, and property was a big thing that the States was founded on. And I don't know why you would fight against those. They're one of the only things we kind of barely have left in this world, man. It's all fucking clown world except that. That's the only good thing we have left.
The problem is with the emergence of fucking human rights and all this fucking fluff is that we've created, basically what ends up happening is they get politicized, and then under the banner of human rights, the idea of a right keeps encroaching. The only thing that actually exists is a property right.
When I was growing up,
that exists is property right.
When I was growing up, these lawyers would go and fight for the right for Nazis to have marches. And the saying at the time when I was growing up was, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll fight for your right to say it. And then that shit stopped and it went away. And times changed. And the liberal left became the absolute opposite. The people that fought for free speech now want you banned and canceled everywhere they possibly can. The people that fought for non-violence. Now use maximum violence to remove your rights from you. Things changed.
Totally.
Like,
And that's
it's
because we made
bad.
everything a fucking right. That's because we
No.
conflated human rights with property rights. So what we did was we encroached upon everyone's actual property rights with a bunch of fantasy human rights. Seriously, we're actually on the same page.
You just
actually
like,
agree
we
here.
want the same things, but you're misidentifying
This-
the mechanism by which it went wrong. It didn't go wrong because we got more rights. It went wrong because we stopped having the rights we thought we used to have. When things went digital,
No.
I'm gonna prove it
we
to you.
stopped having the original rights is because we encroached upon the other rights. Is
I'm gonna
because
prove it to you.
we stopped realizing that with every fucking right there comes a responsibility. Then it's someone else's responsibility to pay for that fucking right.
It's really,
So what you do is you move from the havers to the have-nots. That's effectively what fucking democracy and socialism, communism is. Think about it.
You just listed three things
you-
that don't agree with each other, and then stuck them under the same unit. Like, what are these? Like,
They do. Socialism, democracy, and communism are exactly the same thing. They're collectivist models of taking a large group of people and whatever the what really you're a democracy maximalist, are you?
no, look, capitalism is more effective than socialism, and the wisdom of crowds makes better decisions than committees. And people that have more
Correct. So-
choices are likely to evolve more efficient marketplaces with better products and lower
Correct.
prices.
So democracy, socialism, and communism are just flavors of the same stupidity,
they're not.
which is trying to use politics to make economic decisions. That's effectively
Algebra
what they
is
are.
not calculus. And the United States existed before central banking existed. What you're saying is nonsensical. There was a time when every dollar was backed by gold. There was a time before the Fed. Stop saying that this is all government's fault. There's different levels of suck, and their responsibility for the suck is different parties. I'll give you an example of one of them. Okay. In the United States, in the analog world, before